Hello everybody and welcome back to Little Nightmares. I'm picking up right where I left off. Look, there's an eye. It's always watching. That camera movement did... Oh, there... Oh, no, it's not. It wants to move the camera over here. That's fine. We're going to continue moving up. And the music's going to swell in a wonderful way. I'll turn on my light. So this is very similar to the... that original opening scene, or the opening shot from the menu. We're going to take a little detour in here, which is important. I'm not going to talk that much about any of the specific stuff in this room. What I want to talk about specifically is something that is hidden in the closet. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, because time is short, and we must be moving on. Let's head in here. Yeah, so this is a secret room, as you could tell from the fact that I had to open it with a special pressure plate. Boing. And what on earth could this room be? Well, let's find out. Well, this is a giant eye, as you can see. It spies on everything in the maw, right? So it spies on the children, it spies on the dead children. It spies on the cooks, who are someone who we will be encountering later. That is their kitchen area. And listen carefully. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's someone singing. This is the residence of the mother, as I call her. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. It is wonderfully creepy, I must say. But I don't know what it is about it. It's shots like this that, I mean, we'll get more into what's going on here, but the important thing to note is that we are spying on the mother, hence the theory that, okay, the mother is not, like, in control of the maw. The maw is its own entity, hence why I relate the mother more to being consciousness, which is not in control of the world. I cannot tell what she is doing there. If she is brushing something? Is she polishing something? Can I don't know. Maybe no, she's like stroking something. What is she doing? I'm sorry, I've never like taken the time to really pay close attention to that. Anyway, we'll get back to this. But lo and behold, if you press the button again, ba-bum. Here's an interesting thing, by the way. I pushed the buttons 5 times, and then when I pushed it again was the 6th time. This is important because 6 is looking at a mirror. You see this mirror? This mirror is going to be the weapon that will defeat the mother. That's important because my theory is that what you do is you have the mirror and you force the mother to look at herself, and that defeats her. Which is why the mother wears a mask, along with most of the other people in the maw. Everybody in the maw wears a mask because they are no longer human and they can't stand it. And so they wear masks to hide their inhumanity underneath, and also sort of their deadness underneath. But the mother especially does this. Because of what she has become, but 6 forces her to look at herself, and I think the mirror does not literally exist. All 6 is doing is showing the mother and forcing the mother to look at her, 6. But by doing so, because 6 is the mother's daughter, right, the daughter is the reflection of the mother. She has this resemblance to her. So looking at your daughter is like looking in a mirror, but you're looking in a mirror that is you when you were younger. So the reason that this drives the mother crazy is because she is seeing what she, the mother, was when she was a kid, and seeing the kid in the very beginning of the kid's corruption. So she is seeing fully what she has become and what she has done to her own daughter. Like, it's all wrapped up in this incredibly meaningful way, in my opinion, and that's why I think it's important that you press the button 6 times and then you see the mirror, because the mirror is 6. 6 is her daughter, and 6 represents her. Anyway, 6, at this point in her wonderful life, has been adopted by the janitor. That's why there's a suitcase here, because it implies, again, she has been traveling. And she has traveled here to this wonderful world of the janitor. Also, that's why you'll notice all of the furniture in here is super duper warped, because it is not literal. It is her warped imagination from when she was a young child. Oh, also eye wallpaper. We need to get a key. Oh no! I just wanted to show that to y'all so that you had some idea of what I'm doing and I'm not just like randomly doing stuff. Yeah, I don't know why there's this like brom when you do that. I think originally Roger was supposed to come in here and like try to hunt you down, but that's no longer the case. It is creepy though. I love the fact that he has to tie himself down into the bed because it's a boat. It makes sense. It's great. There's the key, and there is also a picture of Roger. And this is as good a time as any to talk about Roger, or at least one aspect of Roger. I haven't been breaking the there's a lot of little achievement things I haven't been doing because they don't add a whole lot to the story, and I'll just throw that off. And we're gonna admire this portrait of Roger. You will notice that he is wearing a mask, but his mask is pulled down. It's or is just sort of sagging down over his eyes. Roger, as I mentioned, is blind. The real Roger, as it were, the Roger in the eye carpet also. The real Roger who adopted 6 was not literally blind and also was not literally like horrifyingly deformed. But in 6's memory of him, he was. And the traits that she gives him are being blind, as in morally blind, as not being truly human. He's a monster in disguise. And we'll get to a few other things about him that are important. Let me check. Warped memory. Toys. Roger likes to collect toys. We will notice this more. I always remember when Markiplier played this and he's like, oh, that's a nice monkey. Because it's like the creepiest thing you can ever see. Also, tiny sock. Always a good sign. But Roger collects toys, and that is because he has a warped innocence to him, which is not true innocence, but it's sort of a, he has a childlike side to him, which is why he is down with the children. But the problem is that he effectively collects children. He likes to collect them like they were toys. And, yeah, it's rather unpleasant. So he lures kids in, as we will see in a moment. So 6 is going to get hungry again. Every time that 6 gets hungry, by the way, you see rats run by. I just noticed that. So I think it's trying to draw a comparison. I talk over a lot of things, but you really need to play the game for yourself. And sort of so you can really hear all the sounds and the things that are going on, because it really is it's really well done, especially when you think about what it may mean. So yeah, I can still light my little thing. Lighting the lanterns is just like a special achievement thing if you light all the lanterns, so I haven't been paying close attention, but I'll light that one. But yeah, so I can still see by the light of my conscience. But yeah, they did such a good job with the... I mean, look at that shot, the way that her shadow is lengthening out, right? Because when you... Yeah, I can't light my thing anymore. Yeah, our shadow gets dark there. And everything's very dark and shadowy. And there are the rats, and they're eating on a piece of meat. And it's sitting in a cage, and it's obviously a trap, but there's no other way to progress. Six has to eat it. And she's going to eat it, and you will see, I think you can see a dark Six up there. We'll talk more about them. But in the meantime, yeah. Roger lures children in with the promise of food. Here's the interesting thing, though. We will... Yeah, he's going to catch his children. Look at the length of his arm. It's perfect example of surrealism, where it's like the length of his arms continually changes. Like, they're always long, but they're always long enough for whatever it is the game developers want him to do, which I don't actually have a gripe with, because the point of it is that it's nightmarish. And I'm going to escape, because Six is not like these other children. Six has a dark mission of vengeance. It is extremely sad to me that they're just sitting in the cages. They can't. Probably because they're so hungry and they've given up all hope. They're just so broken down. Anyway, yeah, so Six is going to pull this cage over here. Let me just check really quick here. Yeah. Let me see here. They're so hungry for spiritual nourishment. Yeah, so the idea of food, well, we'll talk about that the next time that Six gets hungry, which will be it'll be a while ahead, but, excuse me, the point being that Six is not, it seems as though Six is not just hungry for any old food. She's hungry for a specific kind of food, and that is very symbolic. Excuse me. And that will help to explain what precisely he was luring them in. The main idea being that she doesn't need food, she needs, I think, blood. She needs warm blood. And so a lot of people think that the kid threw her a piece of bread. I don't think he did. I think he threw her a piece of meat. And that's what helped her. And there it was clearly meat, what was in that thing. And spoilers, you'll notice a guillotine right here with some, there's a fresh blade there for it, and it's clearly been used recently. There's a bathtub here, which is almost certainly to catch the blood. I don't know why there's a shovel, though it might just symbolize burying the bodies, even though that doesn't literally happen. Yeah, so before we move on, let me cover a couple more things. They're killing the kids and they're ultimately eating them. So it's a whole process. So the maw is like a giant digestive tract. It lures in children, it gets them into the system, and it exploits them, and it makes them what they want them to be, and it chews them up, and it poops them out. But yeah, this is how the sausage is made. It's a story about child abuse, but it's a story about it on a massive scale and the neglect of children, and I mean a lot of other things, but you know, it's about the nightmares of children, you know, and the things that they go through. I want to make sure I cover everything, because we are about to face off against Roger, and we're going to see what Roger does. Yeah, you can hear the noise over there. Yeah. Yeah, there he is. So you see he's wrapping something up. I'll move the camera. There we go. There are hooks on the ceiling that he can attach them to. Yeah. And then he's going to reach in, and what's he going to pull out? A child. Yeah. I never noticed that before. The children do look almost like they've been petrified, so I wonder if that's a part of the process, if they get petrified, which... I'll go ahead and cover this now. Roger has long arms, and it was actually, I believe, Shamira 25's idea that this symbolizes that he is a sexual predator. He is a molester. So he has long arms because he has a long reach, he has long fingers, and he, not literally, but he figuratively participates in the process of the corruption and the exploitation and processing of these children. And I mention that because if it's true that there is a stage of the process where they use the eye to turn the children to... I don't know why they'd petrify them into stone, though, so maybe that's not it. I was going to say that, oh, he uses that because, you know, abusers will use the person's shame against them to get them to stay with them. But we'll get more into that in a bit. But... yeah, that is, I do think that is a very good theory. It gives a lot more weight to why does Roger look like this? Why does he have these long arms? He does have very good ears, by the way. Yeah, as you will see. Oh, that was close. That was close. Yeah. I will say, they did such a good job on his character design. They did such a good job on it. Oh, he's so... I don't know what it is, but especially when he's like... He's very... Crap. He's so threatening. Alright. Oh, come on, man. Don't come in here. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's definitely going to come in a little bit. And I put this thing in. Yeah, so... Run! Woo! Okay. Also, shoes. In case you didn't notice. I'll turn on my little light. Okay. Forgot about that. Yeah, we're coming up on a pretty famous little scene for anybody who plays this. Most people remember this. It's very characteristic. Let me just check my notes to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, he has long arms. He collects children like he collects toys, and we'll see more evidence of that. So yeah, he has lured in this kid to be adopted by him, or maybe not officially adopted, but brought into his house. And what we're about to see is sort of the results, a very haunting image of the results of the Maw and what the Maw does, which is this. Yeah, so this is why I referenced the Holocaust earlier, because of this scene. Now, this, by the way, would frankly be incredibly tasteless if I did not believe that it was trying to convey something that had a similar magnitude. I don't believe that they are using this imagery just because they think it's scary, because, oh, the Holocaust, because that would be, frankly, rather despicable. At the very least, just kind of disgusting. But I don't believe that they are... I don't think they are that crass. I think that they are using this because they are trying to talk about all of the... I sound like I'm speaking in platitudes, and I apologize for that. I feel it more than I'm necessarily able to express, but they're talking about all of the forgotten people in society. And we'll see that that's not just the children, but because some of these shoes... I think these are all supposed to be the children's shoes, because they've been doing this to tons and tons and tons and tons of children. And all of the children who were abused and who things happened to. And as we're about to see, there's a very interesting idea, which is that when you have this much evil, something will naturally manifest inside of it. This is a very classic image, is whenever you have something that is underneath, you know, in like an ocean, that you can't see it, but it's definitely there, like Jaws, the shark. It is something from the unconscious which is trying to come up and take over you, which is precisely what Six is going to do to her mother. But, you know, when you have evil like this, it always has consequences, and it will always come back and literally bite you. A shoe monster lives under the shoes and wants to get vengeance. When something so monstrous as this happens, it incurs a debt of self-hatred in society that is far more tricky to deal with than simply by repressing it. Which is an interesting argument just about the Holocaust in general, but about all kinds of things. Whenever you have a society that... the society doesn't even have to have done it, they just have to be human along with the people who did do it. Because we're connected to each other in a way. And, I mean, more than a way. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to the fact there's all these rats who are, hanging from the ceiling, and I guess they're caught and just hung like that. I don't know what the deal is with that exactly. And we're about to enter into a wonderful scene, but before we do that, the idea with the Holocaust and things, it incurs a debt in a society of the society not knowing how to deal with the fact that it is capable of evil things. So it's literally an entire society grappling with its own shadow, which is why I really favor the idea I was trying to express before, that the Maw is both a representation of an individual and of an entire society, because there's a microcosm, macrocosm. Every individual in a society has that society in them in microcosm. And I haven't really developed that idea that much, but it's so delicious to me, and I think it works very well in here. Anyway, this is a wonderful... Yeah, look at that. That's just like... Okay, we're gonna... Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, run for your life, 6. Run for your freaking life. I mean, I know where to go hide, but, so there's not as much tension because I know what's gonna happen. Oh, I forgot to mention, there are shoes in those boxes. He's got his stupid little hat on his head. Yeah, this is where you get a really good look at Roger. You know, you can see clearly, it's like it's coming down over his face. He's got that weird mouth, you know? Like, they did such a good job with the sounds and everything with him. He's so... He is a monster. Like, that's what I will give him, is that he's a monster that you are still... He's a monster who you can show him pretty much as you want, and he will still be freaky. And that is the props that I give them. Like, Jaws, you can't show the shark that much because it's just a shark. I mean, I guess it's scary, but there's much more to it if you know, obviously you have to build up to your monsters, but with Roger... I think they just did a good enough job on his character design that you can show him not in darkness, just him, and he's still frightening as a character design. That's my opinion. Anyway, we are now going to do a little scene where I think, you know, we are now underneath Roger. We are underneath him in the basement, and we are kind of watching, we as the player are watching what he's doing, and I think in a sense we are almost getting to be in his unconscious, or at least get a more private look at Roger. And the first thing you'll notice is he has all of these little dolls. He collects toys and dolls because he is... this is a Solid Fingers reference, that he's touching the spoon, but anyway... He has all these dolls, and he collects children like he collects dolls. He collects toys because, in a sense, he collects children because he has that twisted innocence to him, right? Where it's almost like he thinks that he's still a kid, or he still acts like he's a kid or with the responsibility of a kid. But when you're an adult and you're trying to take care of children, that ultimately, especially in the way that he's doing it, obviously, it's awful, because, you know, what I'd implied about what his arms are supposed to mean. But the other thing I want to note is that kind of drives home some of the symbolism is I believe that a lot of these dolls are oddly clothless. If that turns out not to be the case, I'll be embarrassed. Some of them have clothes, but some of them are just like nude. And yeah, you can take that as you will. Again, I don't... Some of these things I'm like, they must have kind of known... Like, otherwise you'd just have the dolls have clothes on them. Like yeah, look at that one in the background. I think I can sneak over to it. No, I'd have to jump, and then he'd hear me. But yeah, I don't think they're wearing clothes. And they're all, like, facing the wall, you know? Anyway, I need to... Yeah, he'll hear that. You go investigate it. Don't touch me. As I walk through the dolls, that's kind of a weird way to do it, where they're, like, stuck to the ground. And then that thing falls. Great idea on their part, by the way, to have something like that. And then he's gonna reach up his freaky fingers. No, Roger, no. Roger, no, stay away. Yeah, he's gonna go through that door. To try to cut me off as I am trying to escape. Yeah, so I think Roger has almost a bit of a Peter Pan thing where he didn't grow up, and we'll see that in this next scene. Yeah, look at that. It's so great. He just climbs around. He's like this spider. He catches children in his web, you know. Which, you know, oh, hey, look, cobwebs. I know, that's too much of a stretch. That's not a good enough symbol. But anyway, there are clocks, grandfather clocks in this room, that have ropes tied around their necks. What is up with this? I cannot find anybody on Reddit or anywhere who is talking about this room and, like, what it means. Like, why? What is going on here? And I think I have an answer, or I have a couple of answers, and I'm going to read them to you while you look at the screen. So the grandfather clocks are hung, and we know that there's the symbolism from the one hanging man. This references the hanging father, indicating a legacy of hanging male ancestors, of, like I said, of this notion of male abandonment. We'll say abandonment because that's sentimentally what's being experienced here. Or you could just say of just, you know, this repeating of sort of the death of the masculine in the life of these women and of these male characters. I think you could say that this is either this represents her seeing all the male figures in her life, you know, failing her in a sense, or it represents, oh, you probably heard the ding dong on the door, or it represents all of the figures in Roger's life, you know, his male ancestors. But anyway, because these are grandfather clocks. Good heavens. There's a lot of... So sorry, I don't know if you can hear any of that. These are grandfather clocks, and they're hanging. So there's this notion that you are stopping time. They're in a loop of generational suicide. There's a sense that they are trying to suspend time, but it only results in death. It could also indicate the suspension of time while living with Roger, which is what abusers do. They isolate you like a firefly caught between the palms. They keep you in a nightmare of their own creation. So those are some ideas anyway. You know, because I think it's significant that they are grandfather clocks, because there's like three, like I'll show you a couple more of them. Like, you know, there's another one over here. They're all tied around the neck. They're trying to, like, lift them up, but it's not working, so the clocks have stopped, so time has stopped. And you have the father figure, so I don't know. It means something, man. It means something. But probably my favorite idea is just the indication, oh, time has stopped in Roger's house because she's trapped here, and it's dark because he's blind, and it's like cut off from the rest of the world. And I wonder if he'll hear that. We're gonna wait here until we know what he does. Yeah, you see his hand there. We gotta wait for something to happen. There we go. Yeah, so this is another wonderful scene. So these clocks are not broken. Alright, these are all fine clocks. I don't know why those other ones were hung, but these ones are not hung. These ones work. and you will see Roger clutches at his ears. And I would like to point out his ears do still have the human skin over them. So it's almost like that part of him is still human and that part of him still has a conscience. And so the notion is that he's almost like a Peter Pan. He's suffering from a Peter Pan syndrome where he can't stand the fact that he knows he's like getting old and he's wasted his life and he's never grown up and he can't stand it. So he's morally blind. Yeah. But he can still hear. And he's... Oh, crap! Well, I was talking about how he has long freaking arms. Good grief, man. I thought I was gonna have a smooth... Okay, well, we gotta jump through this. Tolling with the clocks. The clocks symbolize the fact that he has to wake up and grow up. Yeah. Let's try to move our way through this. Yeah. I think he drops from the ceiling. Yeah. Oh my gosh. He drops a bunch of shoes with him too, which is great. Oh, I wish I had come in here before and seen that happen. It's so great. I mean, it's horrifying, but I mean, I just love the aesthetics of it. Alright, we gotta wait for the clocks to start chiming again. Come on, don't come this way. He makes this, like, little noise. It's really pitiful, actually, where he's like... Yeah, now he's chasing after me. I think those are teddy bears in there, right? Which really just elevates, you know, emphasizes the fact that he's, like, collects kids, or collects toys to lure them in. I mean, it's particularly freaky, because I've met people who are like that, who I should definitely point out. There are people I've met who are like that. They're by no means abusers, they're not bad people, but it's like they don't understand that, listen, man, you can't just give random toys to children. Like, you're like 60 years old. I think they're from a different time or something, but anyway, that's a separate thing. This is a room full of books and a piano, which is hanging from the ceiling for no discernible reason. I don't know why it's hanging from the ceiling, or if that means anything other than just to create the dream effect, but the irony, of course, being, and I haven't seen anybody point this out, is why does a blind man have all these books? Well, I'll tell you. Because the literal Roger, as I call him, in sort of the story of Six's life, was not blind. He really did have all these books. But Six remembers him as morally blind, but still having all these books, because even though he had all these books, and he even had a piano, he could, like, play music, you know. But, you know, he had all these books, he was very well read, but it didn't mean anything, because it didn't change him morally. And here he comes down like a spider. Yeah, that is another way you could look at it, is that he is almost like a spider who traps children in his web, and he's like, you know, crawling around inside of this web that he's created that's caught all of these things in it, you know, all this old stuff he's just hoarded over the years in his dark, dank apartment. I've been in houses that feel like this, where they're dark and they're full of stuff, they're messy, they've got cobwebs, like, and there's people who live in them, and it's like that's a part of why I have a certain affinity for, and you know, it's, I don't know, it's just people who live in them, and it's like I can tell that they're just not very happy, and I've helped... Oh, crap. Come on, man. Go over there. Go over there. You heard that? Go over there, Roger. He does like that thing with his neck. It's so creepy. Sorry, I'm like acting as though he can actually hear me talking. Okay, up we go. I never did point this out. This room is kind of like a labyrinth. Also, I should also point out, I love this room. I'm not conveying that. I love this whole sequence where you're going through the library. I was busy talking about other things, but... and then this is one of my favorite moments of the game. Because like I was saying, this reminds me of places I've been in where they always leave the television on, and it's always on some weird channel I've never heard of, and it feels like I'm in another dimension. And one of the things that's a nightmare for me is that very idea of being like trapped with somebody, isolated from the rest of the world, in like this dream world where there's no time doesn't matter, and there's television programs that are like this. Excuse me. I'm trying to get him to come in here so he opens that door so I can get out. There's just something about this where you have to lure him into the room with you. Well, there's this creepy program playing. Just look at that! Look at that! It's so creepy! Look at him! Oh, he's just like chewing on his gums. And I'm trying, I have to then work my way out through the labyrinth. He's like the Minotaur, and I'm trying to get through the labyrinth to get out of here. I'm not going to bother lighting that candle because I'm not bothering with the lighting all the things. I've missed a whole lot of stuff. But just that shot, I don't know what it is about it, but it's like the idea that it's just so this game. It's like a perfect encapsulation of the aesthetic of this game, where it's like he's this weird monster, but he's like listening to the television while you're trying to escape. There's just something about it. Okay, come on, come on. It's close enough. It's close enough. Woo! Okay, that's probably not close enough. We'll make it work, though. Woo! Yep, we made it work. Okay, we gotta get out of here. Alright. Library scene, television scene. Yeah, I literally didn't write any notes for that because I don't even know if I have any, like, symbols or anything. I just love the aesthetic. I don't have any symbols for this either. This is just like a trash heap. I suppose, because this is going to be one of the last parts of this section, which is called the Lair, as in Roger's Lair. So I suppose you could say that, oh, I forgot to mention, this probably won't make any sense now, but if you recall, earlier on, there was that part where the kid was, or where we climbed up the bed sheet that was hung out of the window, right? And, or out of the window of the bathroom. And I think what that shows is that, okay, the kid, whoever made that bedsheet rope, escaped from the prison, but their escape was basically like being defecated out, hence why they were from the bathroom. They had already been processed, and I'm pretty sure it's implied that whoever had escaped using that bedsheet is the same kid who got eaten by the leech, where there was, you know, the refrigerator and the shoes and everything. It's not confirmable, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're implying. It would make sense. You know, there's no escaping the maw. This is another wonderful moment we're coming up on. I'll go ahead and light that. 6. Light it. Light it 6. There we go. Yeah. Oh, it's so great. Oh, gall. Oh, don't get your hands too close to me. I gotta wait till he's reaching up on that pipe. They did a very good job of kind of like making it so that, yeah, look at that. Yeah, he reaches his hands back in. There goes a little rat, because I'm like a little rat in this world. Let me see, hands in the ventilation. Yeah, we're coming down to the last part. Yeah, here he comes! Here he comes! Oh my gosh! Oh! Oh, well, I ruined the tension of that. I'm terribly sorry. Obviously, I am supposed to slide into the elevator room, and we... Oh, that's awful! It starts me in here! Wait. Oh, it's gonna restart me. I'm so sorry. You'll have to play it for yourself, because I don't think I can go back. Well, what happens is it's I slide into this elevator thing and he's reaching in to try to get me, so it's a little, I just like the little element of you slide in there and then it starts up and you realize the situation. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine. Because this is one of the scenes I remember more than any other scene. I mean, I've said that about a couple of them, but I remember the first time I watched this, it was Markiplier playing it, and it was like, come on. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you're getting the idea of what I'm supposed to do here. But before I do finish off the deed here, we need to talk about, this is some major symbolism. I mean, because he's reaching in his arms, and that's kind of what he has going for him, as Markiplier would say, is his hands. And there's this sense of dread, and the fascinating thing is that the dread is not for Six. The dread is for him, because he's really the one in the much worse situation. Six kind of has the upper hand here, because Six can see. And so, like, there's this dread, because it's like, well, yeah, he can reach up and get me, and it's dangerous, but you know what you have to do. That door is going to come down, and he has the hubris to think that he can just reach in here and get me, that his arms are going to solve everything. And in fact, that word hubris, and I'm going to be super pretentious now, I'm going to quote Hesiod, the ancient Greek epic writer, not Homer, Hesiod. He's the one who tells us a lot of our original mythological stories, and he tells the story about the Titans, and the word Titan, I believe, it literally means overreaching, because the Titan Kronos, don't reach over and get me. The Titan Kronos reached up in order to, if you know the story, castrate his father, Oceanus, at the behest of his mother Gaia. And so this is kind of a mixed up version of that, where this guy is overreaching in here, and so his hubris is finally going to be his downfall, because he reached his arms in where he should not have. Come on, grab the thing. No. Okay. I'm good at video games. I swear. Oh, do I have to do it all again? Okay, let's see how quickly I can do this. But that was the main thing that I saw in my... Yeah, he reaches back his hand to check it. But I mean, I'm not, you have to just play it for yourself. It doesn't work if it's just me. Come on, grab it! 6! That is a complaint I have about the scenes, that it's difficult to get her to grab the thing. Come on, grab it. Grab it. 6! It's hard to find where I'm supposed to grab a hold, you know? I think I'm supposed to grab the edges, but... There we go. Come on. Okay. There we go. There we go. We got this tension building up. But yeah, so effectively 6 is, Oh! No! I might just have to cut some of this out. I am so sorry. I'm taking so long on this. And I don't have, I'm out of notes. I'm out of notes, everybody. I don't have anything else to say. Come on, pull that thing. All the tension is gone. We just need to get this through. 6 needs to symbolically castrate you. That's where we're going with this. Whoa. Okay. Come on, there we go. And there we go. Yeah. Ugh. He's got these freaky... His arms are so noodly. Anyway, I'm probably not treating this with the gravity that it deserves, in the sense of everything that I've said that this character of Roger was supposed to symbolize, but the last thing I was going to say is that his arms, of course, continue moving a little bit. They twitch a little bit. They're very, you know, you can move them around. I believe it was this arm that was still had some twitching in it, and that implies the idea that we train our bodies to do things. So we are kind of like books of reflexes, and we you know, we teach ourselves to sin and to do bad things, and it can, you know, if it's a whole life, you know, it's that's why it takes so long to train ourselves to do good. So we have to be patient with ourselves, you know, or Six will come into your room and chop your arms off. Anyway, sorry for the dark humor. I'm gonna end this one here before we head into the next section, which is the kitchen. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.